Hi, everyone, and welcome back to an edition of JaYo Reacts. Today, the movie, we're going to call this segment Oldies and Goodies because,
Ooh.
I don't always have time to go to the movies and go watch a new movie. So, here is an oldie and a goodie, and it's The Island. I
Yep.
don't know if y'all remember The Island. It featured Scarlett Johansson and Ewan Ewan McGregor, and
Ewan.
yes,
Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi, yes, was in it, and my main man, what's his name? Djimon Hounsou, who I love him. He's great.
Oh,
Some other great ones.
what happened to
Clarke
him?
Duncan, R.I.P. Jamon, no, he's still working. He's actually in the new um, what's a place? A Quiet Place, Day One, I believe.
Oh, was he in the New Quiet Place movie?
I believe he
Oh, I
was.
love him.
He's great.
I loved him.
I
I
wish he had more work.
gotta check that out.
Yes. And for me, I
Yes.
would rate The Island. Like, I actually like The Island. I've always liked The Island, and I would rate it. Sorry, my computer's going crazy. I would say I want to give it an 8 out of 10, but there were some like things that I was like, oh, we could work on. So I'll give
Fair.
it 7 out of 10. How about you?
7 out of 10.
Yup, I like it.
It's not that I dislike the movie. However,
Okay,
it's not that I
however.
dislike it. So there was I remember when it came out, how serious everybody took it, and they were saying, "Oh, this is like the new Brave New World. This is like such like," and that was at the height of like dystopian fiction. And watching it though, even back in like 2005, 2006 when it came out, I remember um just feeling so disappointed by it. I wanted more. I wanted more. I wanted it not to be this predictable plot of some you like the island is a magical place. You have the chosen one, which was Ewan McGregor, who was so sexy in that movie, by the way. And
Girl,
ah, that man can
he can get it if you want
that
to go
man can
short.
get
He can
every
get it.
single talk about a man that has always nailed it in a movie. I have yet to see him in one bad performance in TV or film.
Same, same. I love him. He's
But
great.
so then you have him being the chosen one in this just kind of dystopian world, at least
Yeah.
in the pod, and then you have the island, and then everyone wants to go to the island, and then he breaks out, and then he gets the girl, and it's like it was like paint by numbers in
Yeah,
terms of a plot, but
I hear that.
it was clever, and it also reminded me of The Giver.
I love The
Have you read The
Giver.
Giver?
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
so
we'll have to
this
talk about The Giver for sure.
Ooh, definitely. But it was giving The Giver.
Okay.
I'm never gonna say that ever again. Oh my God, no, I will never say that ever again. But I'm just trying to keep up with the slang um
You're fine.
of the world. But no, I would give it, in terms of action sequences, excellent. In terms of story, I wanted more. I didn't want it to be just so predictable. So I'll
Okay.
give the movie like maybe a 5.5 out of 10.
Woof. Ouch. Okay, okay,
It's
okay,
it's
okay.
it's kind of neutral, but like a little bit more on the positive side
Yeah,
because
very good.
Scarlett Johansson and Ewan McGregor had great chemistry.
They did.
They had wonderful chemistry. Steve Buscemi and Ewan McGregor also had great chemistry together on screen, which they proved in Big Fish.
Mhm.
They've already worked, together before. And the villain, the guy that played the villain, was
Sean
very
Bean. He's
creepy.
great.
Yes, creepy. We love
Yeah,
him. We
yeah,
we
he's
love that
great.
man.
Hmm.
Yeah.
He's a good villain for sure.
He, you know what? I feel bad. That man dies in every movie he's in.
Does he? Sean
Sean
Bean?
Bean. Oh, there's one movie that I've yet to see him die in, and it was National Treasure.
Huh. I need to check out his
Check
movie.
him out.
Yeah,
Lord
his
Lord of the
filmography.
Rings. Yeah, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, this movie, this man dies. In every movie he's in,
You just wanted
every
him to
single
die.
every single cinematic universe we have seen this man in, except for National Treasure,
Well,
which is a great, I will stand by that movie forever.
great movie.
Um, Great movie.
Yeah.
But this man dies in every single film that
Oh,
he's in.
guess they're like he should just die.
Yeah. He's on his resume, it probably says Sean Bean, I can die. I
Feel free to kill me. And if
feel
you
free to
don't,
kill me with whatever way necessary in your film.
right.
For the record, I love Sean Bean and think he's a great actor.
He really is. And that's the thing, like this cast, I mean this movie was like definitely they had a solid cast.
Yes.
Um, which, you know, it was all made to be an incredible blockbuster. And they did make money at the end of the day. Yeah.
Did they make money?
Yeah, they did. Their box
Good.
office was more than their budget. So
That's good.
they made money, yeah. Maybe
Amazing.
they could have made even more, but
They could have.
just to give the plot, tell people a little bit about the plot. It's, like Valerie said, a dystopian tale about, you know, this society of people where like men and women are separated and have their own jobs and they're in all white and all of this stuff. They have to eat in a certain way. They have activities that are tailored to them, etc., etc., etc. And this one guy, the chosen one, has been having weird dreams. And every day, one person is chosen at random to be a part of the lottery, and they're chosen to go to the island because what everybody has been told in the society is that the earth has been ravaged by, I think, like a chemical something, and
It's
it's
like, yeah.
uninhabitable except for one island that is beautiful, has breathing air, beautiful water, meow, 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 meow. And so one person every day gets the luck of being able to go to the island. And sometimes there's more than one winner.
Yes. And that was, and then what you find out later is that it's actually, they're not actually going to an island. They're actually, spoiler alert. We're going to talk about it.
Spoiler!
Spoilers. They're actually clones of very wealthy people that are made to be either surrogates for pregnancies or for organ donors. And it's actually quite terrifying. And that's how we see unfortunately, it's very sad that that's the last scene that Michael Clarke Duncan was in.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like
that scene was
that's
intense.
so intense. And that's the last time we ever saw him on the screen. And thinking about it as an adult, I'm like, that's so sad
Yeah.
that that's the last time we saw it. I mean, he gave an amazing performance the small screen time that he had.
Oh my god.
But but yeah, no, but then, and that's why I say it's like The Giver, because in The Giver, the novel, it, you know, a lot, one of some of it's the same world. It's like, you know, it's inhabited in like a bubble, and their part of the jobs is to, you know, get rid of the people that are unusual. And it's part of the facilities, like the facility, you know, the facility that these guys have to go through in order to prep for the island is actually surgery for them to be killed
Yeah.
once their use is done. And then that was a terrifying sequence. And then you end, of course, Scarlett Johansson, you know, she gets called to be the lottery, and that's the, you know, that's the catalyst and all that.
Yeah, exactly for everything to move and everything. And that was one of my first criticism of the movies, is that the first part of the tale takes way too long. Like the setup, I was just watching and I was like, oh, I should have timed it. It felt like almost an hour for them to really develop the world and the relationships, and I was just like, cut. we could have made this a lot more interesting, move a lot faster, because it felt like we're not getting anywhere. We're not going.
Oh, and but that was the problem in those movies. I mean, it was such 2005, 2006 was such a weird time for film, I think, because there wasn't, you had, you know, the Harry Potter series, and then I think that was kind of like the rise of the dystopian, like real truly like dystopian fiction. I mean, we had the Hunger Games between 2005 to like 20, I'd say like 2018 even, maybe. You had The Maze Runner, The Giver, The Island, Hunger Games, all of that dystopian fiction where there was a chosen one, and everything, and Not to mention the fact it's a Michael Bay film. So talk about
Oh, I
formula.
didn't even notice.
He directed that. He did a lot of the some of the stunt sequences that he did for the island. He actually put into the Transformers film.
Oh,
Transformers like led one of the sequels that he had made because I think it was like Transformers something of the fall. So it was either like it was the second, third one. I don't know. There's so many of them now,
I know.
but it's a Michael Bay film. So
Okay.
you know that there's going to be a lot of action, like kind
Yeah.
of weird action-packed sequences with jaunted story.
Hmm.
I will say though, great take on making them like children and having them
Mm.
like really just very innocent
Yeah.
and not really, except for Lincoln, Ewan McGregor, like not really being aware of like the surroundings and not questioning really anything.
Hmm. No, for
Yes.
sure, for sure. And I think what they could have done in that first act is really drop a lot more hints. A lot
Okay.
more hints that one, I think they should have made it happier for a longer period of time. Because with Ewan McGregor's like they started the whole movie with him in the dream and coming out
Right.
of this nightmare and dream. And though I like that take, I actually prefer if you start us in a place of like this is the world and being like, this is a utopia, this is a great world, and then start seeing the defects. Because that's how Brave New World, I remember when I read it, like that's how they set us up. Is that they're like,
Oh,
this is the world, this is the system, this is how great this world is and how it works. And then you start to see the problems. And you're like, oh, okay, where is this going? Plus, I love a good fake out. I think it was
oh,
too easy to make us like immediately latch on to Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson as like the leads. I think it would have been great for us to again fake us out, like make us care about some of the other people in this world too. So you're
mhm.
like, like what's his name? I'm forgetting his
Michael,
Michael. Yeah, Duncan.
Michael.
It would have been incredible if we had gotten to know him a little bit more. Michael Clarke Duncan, so that we really cared when there's that scene when he's getting like
Dragged off and it's
dragged
into the
and like torn to pieces, right? So yeah, I was just like,
ooh.
from a storytelling perspective, like these are the things I would have liked to see in part one.
Did you know that there's a ongoing Hollywood joke dropped in the island intentionally?
Mm-mm. Which one?
So, so fun fact. So the scene where Steve Buscemi is driving with them in the car and they're trying to he's trying to hide them.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson and he's explaining the world. He's like, "This is the real world. You guys are clones. This is not real." And she's like, "But I had a mother. I had a little girl. I was a little girl. I had a dog." And he's like, "Yeah, and you had a house with shutters and like a white picket fence. Yeah, there's 12 stories that go around. We just changed all the details. The
Uh-huh.
running gag in Hollywood is that there's 12 stories that are just thrown around and they just change a little bit of the details."
Wow.
So someone wrote that intentionally into the script to make a point. And the thing is, they're not wrong.
Right,
Props to the
right. I was
screenwriter.
like, oh, that's not wrong at all. I like that. That's low-key creepy.
It's a little creepy though. But I mean, think about it. All of Hollywood is now really, except with the exception of the movies that are made by A24.
Uh-huh.
Um, a lot of them are repeats or remakes,
Oh yeah.
or it's the same formula. Which
Hmm.
don't get me wrong, I love a formula. I love a formula
Same.
rom-com.
Scream is my jam.
Scream is Scream is the best
Love.
formula movie
Hmm.
ever created. And but because it makes fun of itself
Yeah.
so many times,
Love
that's the
it.
gag and we're all involved in it. But it's still spooky. And but I loved that. That was one thing I loved about the island was that they threw in that fun fact and we're making fun of Folly, especially because it is a Michael Bay film and it's we all know what's going to go into a Michael Bay film.
I love that. That is
Me
so
too.
smart.
What was one what was your favorite part of the movie? If you had to choose
Um,
one part.
just one part, favorite part.
How about tell me a favorite part of yours and
Uh-huh.
also a part besides like we kind of talked about it in a little bit when you're talking about I want the exposition a little much shorter. Like what's one part of the film that you if you had the opportunity to rewrite the island and reproduce it and reshoot it, what's one part you would definitely change?
Okay, great questions. Number one, and it's hard to choose one. I'm gonna say two. I'm gonna cheat and say two of my favorite
Cheat,
moments
cheat
in
away.
the
I love it.
islands. Number one is going to be when Ewan McGregor, the clone, meets his maker or meets who he's cloning with
Mhm.
with Scarlett Johansson. That whole scene, I know, was so good. Especially the banter between the two was
Yes.
chef's kiss. I was like, get it, Ewan, get it. I loved. And then my second favorite moment in the movie is when I love Djimon. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, but Husun. And that scene where he has Hounsou. That scene that he
Okay.
has with Sean Bean, talking about the whole point of this dystopia and the whole point of like cloning and how,
Hmm.
and making an allegory to slavery was just, for me, I
Oh,
was like, you see, this is
yep.
good shit. Like, we love this. We love when a kind of villain becomes a kind of savior, and works with, like, that's great. That was a great little twist. I was here for it.
Oh my God. I forgot. Yes, yes, that part was excellent. I remember seeing that too, and I was like, I think my jaw dropped, and I was like, ooh, okay, I love that.
Such a good scene. Yeah.
That was a good scene. See, like that's what I'm talking about. Like those little pockets of moments in that film made it. I just wish it was better. I just wish it wasn't. Ugh. But anyway.
Like an
Okay,
overall. No, I totally get it. And if I would change anything, I mean, there's lots of things I would change, but the number one thing I would change
go
is
ahead.
actually Scarlett Johansson's character. I would give her a lot
Ooh.
more agency, and like I felt like they were leaning way too hard into the like precious, beautiful bimbo who can kind of help, but like, like paramour, but not
Right.
really. Like she wasn't the main character really until the end, which I was like, I appreciated the ending for that. But
Yes.
before that, like they kind of made her out to be just like a airhead blonde. I'm just pretty and here to be a sexy girl, like look at my assets, type of situations. And I was like, absolutely not. We will make her smart and beautiful, okay,
Hmm.
and
Consider
all of the things.
they really did objectify her
They
a
totally
lot
did
in that movie, right? Especially in
so
the scene,
much.
especially with the scene where they go to Tom Lincoln's house
Yeah.
and he's
Oh my
like saying to
gosh.
the clone, "Oh, you're running around with that," and then they
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
And then the clone's like, "What's sex?" And he's like, "Ah," and they talk about that.
Yeah.
Have that whole weird. Then they have that whole weird scene later in the
Sex
film.
scene. I mean, there has to be a sex scene because it
Of
was leading
course,
to that anyway.
it was. It was. It just. But like that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, also
Yeah.
you have Scarlett Johansson, who's also one of the most who is a brilliant woman anyway,
She's a
besides
great
her being a
actor.
brilliant, great actress, but also just like really brilliant at what she does as a human being.
Yeah.
You have this beautiful woman and you're going to make her out to be a bimbo? Come on.
Right? Like, come
Guys,
on.
guys, even,
Let's give her a little bit
ugh,
more. A little bit
but
more.
listen, we're dealing with those issues still in 2024.
1000%. 1000%.
Do you think that if you met a clone, like, what would be your reaction if you met a clone of yourself?
Oh, my reaction? I
Like,
feel
what would
like
you,
I would be like Ewan McGregor, the non-clone, where I would start, to ask myself questions and just like ask them questions, right, to figure out like what is going on. I
right,
mean, obviously, in this movie, these people chose for this to happen, but a lot of them I know don't know what's actually happening, that they're being actually
right.
cloned and such. They
They
don't
don't realize that,
know the
right.
the details. They just want things to be ready for when they deteriorate, type of situation.
That
So
part.
yeah, if it's me choosing, it's a very different conversation of if it's the government or some entity who's cloned me, then I would want to dig deeper, yeah, to know like
Yeah.
who are they, why are they? Maybe I would totally help them out. If it's another entity that cloned me out, man, I would be on the side of the resistance, 1000%.
1000%.
Yeah. How about you?
I think I'd be like, oh no. I'd be like, there's two of us? Oh boy. No. In all seriousness, no.
But you would be different people. That's the
I would
beauty, though.
be.
That's what I loved about that scene of the interaction. They were
Because you
so
saw
different.
they were. I think I'd wanted like ask questions about how did you get here? First of all, if I had the opportunity to clone myself, I definitely, same as you, I'd dig deep and I'd be like, okay, what's going on? How do we do this? Is it humane? How are they treated? And like, there's a difference. Like, see, that's would be me. I'd be like, well, how is this? Like, it's not that I don't want to know. I would want to know what's
Yeah.
going on. Um, no one wants to see how the sausage is made. I do because I'm an inquisitive little thing. Um, but I would definitely like, and then if I met myself, or if I met my clone, I'd like sit down, I'd probably offer them food and just be like, so tell me about what's going on and like just ask them questions and see it and make sure that they're okay.
Mm,
Um, but it would be weird. I mean, it would definitely be weird to meet a version of myself that wasn't me, but that
right.
looked like me. But then again, I also have two sisters that look very similar to me, so and they're very different people.
Right.
But I don't know. It's a thought. It'd be interesting.
And what is your favorite moment of the movie?
I do like the scene that when Ewan McGregor's clone and Ewan McGregor, Tom Lincoln,
Mm,
are in the car crash and they're both fighting over the bracelet.
I love that scene too.
That's a great scene. And then this aftermath where Ewan McGregor's like, all he says to the bounty hunter, our
Mhm.
friend, he says, all I want is to live. And he walks away, and then you see a glint in the bounty hunter's eye. How do you pronounce his name? I'm so sorry. I don't want to get it
I,
wrong.
I think it's Djimon Hounsou.
Djimon.
Hounsou?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, Djimon
But
Hounsou.
and I feel horrible if we got it wrong. So Djimon, and he walks away. And the thing that I love about Djimon as an actor
Uh-huh.
is that he acts so well with his eyes
Oh
and his
yes.
face, his facial. It's
Yes.
like you could tell like just a twitch of something.
Yes.
And as Ewan McGregor's walking away, Djimon like has this glint in his eye, or like he's watching him, and it's like he knows that was the clone,
Hmm.
but he can't prove it. And I think and like there I love that moment. It's a millisecond moment, but it's a great moment in the
Yeah.
film.
No, I agree. I agree. There's lots of moments like that where he's
Hmm.
acting with his eyes, even with Scarlett Johansson, like when they
Oh
finally
yeah.
apprehend her and like bring her back to the facility to the to uh, yeah.
To
There's
be
like
the
lots of
hardest dead.
eye acting from him and her
Oh.
that I'm just like, get it. And that's something total like side, but because I've been playing so many smaller characters, I was telling to people, the beauty is if you're a really good actor, is that you should be able to act with your body and everything, even when you don't have any lines. In fact, that to me is the sign of a brilliant actor, where you can tell
Yes.
who they are and what they're saying even when they're not saying a damn word. And so that's something that I've been really like trying to like key myself into during these last couple of months of playing certain roles. It's like, what am I saying when I'm not even saying something? You know?
I love that.
And
And
can I
no, and there's
communicate with people, and can they, and they totally can. Like people have been responding to my Francis flute and Midsummer's Night stream so hardcore. It's really beautiful. It's like, oh my god. And they're like, oh no, we see every eye roll. We see every like looking at the sky, every like shoulders coming up. Like I'm like, yes, that's what I'm talking
and
about.
aren't those small roles though, especially in Midsummer and those other Shakespearean stuff, like that's kind of also the meat. There's so much like meat to those that you can make, and it's beautiful. I love a small role. I love a small role because you can make it your own and have a great time. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God. I want to see your flute. I would love to see your flute. Because that's also flute's a great role. Flute's a great role in
It's a
Shakespeare's Midsummer
fun
Night's Dream.
role. It's a fun.
I love the mechanicals.
They're great. They're a
They
lot
are.
of fun. Yeah,
Oh my
when we have
God.
the recording, I'll definitely share it with you.
Oh my gosh.
And that
Yes.
was the good thing about the island too. Like there were a couple people who had small roles, like I have their names up even though I don't know who they are. But Ethan Phillips and Brian Stepanek like had really small roles, but they milked every second that they were on scene, man. I was like laughing or cringing
Who
or
did,
whatever.
were they clones?
They were clones. They were both
Okay.
clones, and both were very close to Ewan McGregor. Like one was especially, the other was just annoyed at never being picked, and it was great. Like they did a great job.
The lottery.
Yeah,
The lottery of it all.
even a
I
cafeteria
just
woman. she was great.
she was she
Mary
was
Pat
great.
Gleason, man,
Bless
she
her.
made a yeah.
Man, you got to give it up to the Hollywood actors that really only made like his like they make their living of being a small but very memorable role. Like
Yes.
up to a point, I would have said Octavia Spencer to maybe like because
Hmm.
I
She was.
remember her. Do you remember her in Spider-Man? Nobody remembers her in Spider-Man.
I don't remember her in
She
Spider-Man. Oh my
she
god.
was in wait, I just want to make sure that that was correct. Hold on, because I want to say she was in Spider-Man.
Okay.
Wait, I could have just totally screwed you up
No,
live
you're
while we're
fine.
recording.
She made
Wait,
me.
Octavia Spencer, Spider-Man. Octavia Spencer, if you ever watch this, I love
Yeah.
you.
She's wonderful. I love her.
She's amazing. Yes,
Totally.
she wasn't Spider-Man. I was totally right.
You
So
were
it's the
right.
scene where Peter Parker checks in to the wrestling match, and she's like, she looks at his costume and she's just giving him the whole spiel. And she has this moment, and she's very bored, and she's very like, you understand you have to do this is dead-eyed. And then Tobey Maguire will quite like saying like, you know, the disclaimer, and Tobey Maguire's like, yes, and she goes, down the hall to the right, may God be with you. Next. And it's just that I love Spider-Man, and that scene for whatever reason has always stood out to me
I love that.
because she's fantastic. But now obviously she's a multi-mega million dollar star.
Right.
But like, but for
I
years
bet.
she does. I love her, rightfully so. Again, she's the best. But for years she had done a lot of those like bit parts and was just so memorable. And love her.
I love her too. I hope,
I do.
yeah, I have the same career as her one day.
You will. You will. You're gonna be on the same track as her, Viola,
Yes, Viola.
Janelle Monáe.
Oh
My God.
Yes.
You're gonna be in a you're gonna be in a Knives Out movie, like the 10th, you're gonna be in like the 8th or 9th Knives Out film.
Oh, I'm here
That's
for
what's gonna
that.
happen because there's so many of those. You're gonna be in one, you're gonna skyrocket to fame. That's what's going to happen.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's peek it into existence. 1000%. Yes.
Oh my God.
And actually, that makes me
Yeah,
think of
go
my
ahead.
favorite question. If you could play anyone in the movie, who would you want to play?
Oh, that's a good question. Also one that I haven't thought about.
Yeah, I always think about that. For me, I have three. And in order, it's
Go
number
ahead.
one, Ewan McGregor, of course. It would be so
Of
much
course.
fun to play his character. Number two, Sean Bean, the villain. I love being a good villain.
Ooh,
Villain is always great. And
I
number
do love a
three,
villain.
Djimon Hounsou. I love the bounty hunter track, and I love his arc. He has an awesome
He
arc.
he comes in there, and even from the get-go, his side eye is just everything in that film. He just walks in, he's like, what the hell is this?
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Like, okay,
I
whatever.
don't
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm a
He's
professional.
like, all right, yeah, literally. He's like, I'm professional. He's cool. We love him. We stand him. Djimon, we
Absolutely
love you so
standard.
much.
So good.
The character that I would want to play,
Uh-huh.
Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi's character.
That is a great role. I'm not gonna lie. I love his character in that movie.
I do too. He's insane.
He's great.
I love him. He's like, what are you like? He sees them all. He's like, what are you doing? Get out of it! Like it just, and he like protects them, and he's like the only decent human, like the only decent outside of the
interact
clone
with.
facility that we interact with. Like
Yeah.
he's the only person that I'm like Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would play that role.
And
There's something. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No. I forget. I was gonna ramble about something. Please, I want to hear.
Oh,
I want
was
to hear what
just
you were gonna say.
Like for me, that leads me to my other criticism of the movie is they could have gone deeper with some of the stuff. Like they brought up some really great, awesome, like thoughts on number one, politics, like saying how politicians were helping fund this factory, right, that they were creating, but they
Yep.
didn't really know what was going on, and apparently they weren't on the up and up in terms of the ethical side of it. And I was just like,
Yep.
ooh, that would have been a great avenue to go down. And they kind of, went there momentarily, but not really. And I
They
was
went
just
there
like,
towards the. They went there towards the at the end when
when
they
they were like,
when all
oh,
the clones
let's go
were.
talk about it to the world, but then they don't do that.
No.
So it's
They go
like
off on the island. They go to the island, and it's like, but
they go back, yeah,
and that's
to free them. And that's the other question. It's like, what happens once they're freed? Like, it's just like, I feel like that's a great question to have answered. Of like,
right.
once they're freed, what happens ethically?
And also, like, what about all the? You bring up such a great point about ethics,
Hmm.
but and it's so reflective, in this obviously like what we're dealing with now,
Yeah.
ethics and politics and the government and all
Hmm.
this, and there's so many questions that go into facilities that the government also helps fund because it's like,
Yes.
well, okay, do they and like are they aware of what's going on? Are they doing it for optics? Like you could, yeah, there it could have been more of whereas in Brave New World they talked about that. They
Yes.
they talk about all the politics behind it. They literally meet with a facilitator or whoever, is in charge of the world, and he explains why he drugs everybody up and he doesn't really encourage all this new stuff, and
Yep.
he gives his reasons for it, and once you hear them they are kind of valid, is the scary part too,
Yeah.
like they kind of are.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean it's right, it's not the right thing to do, but he thought he was taking care of everybody.
Yeah.
And what else? They also talk about class. It's a story about class too,
Yes.
considering it's only really like remarkably wealthy celebrities that can afford this life-changing operation,
Hmm.
whereas people probably in the middle and obviously the lower classes and the working class
Exactly.
can't really do a damn thing because it's
Yeah.
probably cost billions and billions of dollars. And that's something that we're dealing with now. We're dealing with the
Exactly.
healthcare crisis of the country.
Hmm. Exactly. Where only those who can afford it can, really be on top
Yeah.
of their medical health care. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, I think,
It's
yeah, they could have gone even deeper and
Maybe somebody will remake The Island. Maybe
into a
A24
mini
will
series. Actually, I think it would do really well as a
Ooh.
series rather than a movie. Because
Ooh.
then they'll have the time and the space to really develop, again, make us care about multiple people and like of the world before they go into a rebellion, before they go into, and like really think about like
Yeah.
not just them like going into the real world and coming back and freeing the clones, but like even more stuff.
Ooh. They did that. They did a mini series for Brave New World. Did you watch it?
No, no, I haven't.
I haven't watched it yet either, but it's on Peacock, I
Okay.
think. Unless in their purge they decided to take it down. But you're abs so okay, so let's go on this idea of a mini series. If you were gonna mini series The Island,
Yeah.
which which streaming network would you put it on?
Oh,
Like,
for
which one
the
would you
island.
trust enough? Which one would you think would be would you trust enough to put it on and not gut it?
I mean, if they then I think Netflix and Prime have done good jobs of their series. It's just Prime, their series tend to be really short, like
Hmm.
6 to 8 episodes or something like that. Max is really good, but then they've canceled some really really like great shows.
We've
Netflix has
talked. Yep,
too, but Netflix has also given a lot of money to a lot of shows to like
that's true.
expand. So it's like, I don't know, maybe Netflix or Prime, or to be honest, probably the one that is the best, which I've never seen any of their shows, is Apple TV. Because I know they have a bunch of dystopian series that are doing
Mhm.
extremely well and that are keep keep going.
Do you think the dystopian trend is dying out?
Absolutely not. I mean, they're creating a dystopian series every other like couple of months. So no, I think as the world becomes more and
Dystopian.
more dystopian and exactly in and of itself, we have and like the book genres. I mean, there's been
Mm.
an explosion. I feel of dystopian tales.
I saw well, not read, I saw Divergent for the first time,
Okay,
the movie. I had
I read
never,
it actually.
I
And
never read the,
saw it.
I never read it.
Mhm.
I had watched it for the first time and I was reading, and it was very interesting. I mean, it was definitely an interesting concept, but I was like, this is a combination of Harry Potter, The Hunger Games, The Maze Runner,
Uh-huh.
and like every other a little bits and pieces of all this dystopian stuff.
Yeah.
Corrupt politicians, The
Mm.
Chosen One, the Four Houses, like
The only difference is at the end, and big spoiler alert, big, big,
yeah.
big, big spoiler alert, the Divergent series doesn't stray from killing off its main characters. That's the big difference
Wait,
between
what?
Divergent and everything else.
No.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
No.
And that really
No.
pissed off a lot of people. I actually
Wait
very
a minute.
much
Wait.
disagree with the author. One of the deaths, I was like, I'm here for. The other, I was like, absolutely not. But yeah, no,
Who did they kill
no.
off?
Who do you think they killed off?
They killed. Wait, no, they killed her off.
Mm-hmm. Last one.
No.
Last one.
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Sorry, but yeah. That's why I was like, I agree though. It's not one of the better of the dystopian like
What?
movies or TV shows. There are so many. Girl, I'm obsessed with dystopian stuff. Like, if you want a genre to like sink your teeth in, that you're like, yes, Legend is one, written by Chinese Mary Liu,
Okay.
author. Yo,
Yo,
it's
I
a
can't believe
great world. Mm-hmm.
I'm still wrapping my head around the fact that Divergent killed off their main character.
Main character, girl.
What?
I'm telling
No.
you.
No, I'm just throwing shit out.
I know. We were all like shook because again, I read the whole thing and then I watched all of the movies save for the last one. I haven't seen the last one yet.
Okay,
When I read it, I was like, ah!
Oh my God. This is almost as bad as the time I spoiled the Hunger Games for and one of the deaths I spoiled for a friend of mine who had never read it, and I was like, and it was like so unintentional too, and I was just like, and it just kind of came out of my mouth, and the reaction of my friend, I won't say it because the Hunger Games has been around, so I was talking about how Prim dies, and it was in the room, I was in the room with my roommates at the time in college, and my friend Kyle, and Kyle was like, Prim dies? And it was just like, I had spoiled it and it was just so embarrassing. I was like, oh no, I was mortified. I was mortified that I had spoiled the ending.
I didn't tell you who. I just said they're like Game of Thrones. They're willing to sacrifice their people.
Game of Thrones is literally one bad. I still have yet to, I don't know who wins Games of Thrones. I only watched like up to season 3. I just have no idea. I know about I've heard about the Red Wedding. I don't know who dies in the Red Wedding. I just know that the Red Wedding is a thing. I know there's White Walkers.
I actually know who
I couldn't get into it.
With whom. Like, eventually,
oh my God.
I will
I know that there was some weird shit with Jon Snow, but that's about it. But anyway, so like, okay, so going back to the dystopian universe, it just seems like, no wonder like everyone is fighting the government, which I love, is because of also all these novels and movies like The Island. But I don't know. I would remake The Island. I would do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's make it into a TV show. Like, it will be gorgeous. And like I said, so many incredible. If you want a series to like Neil Shusterman has really great dystopian series.
Okay.
The Scythe one is a really good one. It's about, life and death.
Okay.
It's called Scythe, Scythe, and it's about, who gets to live and who gets to die. And unfortunately, I don't know, unfortunately, but or fortunately, people have to, like, there's a world with no disease, no hunger, nor war, etc. But to keep that balance, like, there's a group of people who decide who dies. To keep
That's
the
horrible.
population in check. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's incredible.
It's like the lottery, that short story.
I love that short story. That's a great short story.
I do too. Shirley Jackson. It's scary too.
It really is.
Ooh. Spooky.
We're gonna end it here for this video.
Yes.
But yes, please keep watching. We'll be doing some reviews of other movies and TV shows soon. Let us know. Well, thank you for having me come on as a recurring guest in this series. I'm enjoying it very much. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you for doing it with me.
Are you kidding me? I love it. It's so much fun. Where else can I ramble on about movies and books and things that I love and things that I can actually talk about?
Right?
Things that I can actually show that I'm knowledgeable about.
Mm-hmm. And I am amazed by your memory of The Island. Having not seen it recently, that you remembered so much, I was like, wild.
Honestly, same.
Yeah, right? I was like, well, those are details. I would not have remembered if I hadn't watched this week. So yeah.
We gotta do, all right. Well, no, the Island 5.5 for me. Maybe I gotta all right. I gotta see if it, I gotta see. Maybe I'll see if I can stream it tonight. Maybe we'll figure it out. But I can't wait for the next time. This is so lovely.
Yes. And let us know, public, if you have movies or TV shows or plays or whatever that you want us, or books that you want us to review. Please let me know. I love talking about anything and everything that's stories. So let us know. Thank you so much.
Bye, world.
Until next time.